Hi, and welcome to another edition of 310 to Left. Tom Caron with you here at Fenway Park. 310 to Left, as always, brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years, and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Sox rolling on with this homestand, wrapping things up on Thursday afternoon against Seattle, then heading to Cleveland, Toronto after that, an actual Monday off day, just their second off day of the season so far. They've kind of weathered the early schedule, battling through a lot of games, 30 games in 32 days to start the season, 58 games in 62 days to start the season. So a lot of days off later. But right now, I'm playing more games just about anybody in Major League Baseball. And again, surviving and playing well at home and playing better of late. All good things for the Red Sox as they try to get things rolling into May, wrapping up April over the course of the next week. So we can talk about what's going on at Fenway Park, but the most important thing, of course, is what the Red Sox are doing at Fenway Park. And they've been winning at Fenway Park. It has been 3 years since they had a winning record here at home. And, of course, if you go back over the course of history, when the Red Sox play well at home, they are much more likely, percentage-wise, to make the postseason. That's even more true now with the expanded wild card format. Red Sox trying to nail down not just a playoff spot, but first place overall. It's been a fun team to watch, especially here at Fenway. 3 walk-offs as we tape this is the most in the American League. Most recently got one with Tristan Casas scraping the wall Saturday afternoon for the win against those pesky Chicago White Sox. And it was Easter weekend. It was Marathon Monday. So there's a lot going on here at the ballpark. I always feel like after Marathon Monday, you kind of settle into the real baseball season. You string together a few night games, which is what they're doing at this point, and the Red Sox opened up that stretch with the Tuesday night win over a very good Seattle Mariners team. In that game, Garrett Whitlock threw 2 scoreless innings. Hard to believe, as you look at it now, that Garrett Whitlock is the longest tenured Red Sox reliever, making his debut back in the playoff season of 2021. So we thought it was a good time to catch up with him and talk about what this team is up to, what he's been up to, and what it's like being the veteran in that bullpen. Here's Garrett Whitlock on 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers. All right, so with Garrett Whitlock, and I do diligent prep for these interviews, and I stopped myself in my tracks this morning looking over stuff. Because I don't think it dawned on me, and when I think about it, I'm like, sure, but you are the longest tenured reliever on this team. How did that happen? How did you become the veteran on this group?
I don't know.
Did you know that?
I didn't realize, I knew that me and Tanner were kind of the only pitchers left from 21.
Right. He beat you. He got up in 20.
Yeah.
But he's a starter now.
Yeah.
One of those guys.
I didn't think about the reliever part.
So you're the dean of the bullpen.
Wow. Thanks for making me feel old.
Do you at times, though? I mean, so that's what I got to thinking about, right? Like, to me, you're still sort of this young guy. You're building your career, right? You've been through the injuries. But you've been around. You've been through some stuff here.
Well, it's funny you say that because last night when Bizzardo came in to pitch, I was like, oh, it's Buzzy. And I looked around and everyone was like, who? And I was like, oh, I'm the only one that played with him. Okay, never mind. So, yeah, I guess that's fair.
Well, they're just, I mean, even going, like we used to say, Rafi's the only guy left from the 18 World Series. And now you get down to there aren't many guys left from the 21 playoffs. Like, there aren't many guys who have experienced a playoff game at Fenway Park.
Yeah, dang. I guess that's true.
So tell everybody who's new to this, what is playoff baseball like at Fenway Park? Because I still say the wild card game. I know it went deeper.
See, I agree.
But that Yankee wild card game, like I was here in 04, I was here in 18, I was here for all of it. It was as loud as I've heard Fenway Park.
Yeah, I mean, the DS and CS were good, but I agree. That wild card game was something different. I miss the fact that they don't do the one game wild card game anymore. I think that just added to everything, and then obviously it was Yankees and Fenway. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I can put into words like the feeling of it. I mean, me and Adam Ottavino were in the bullpen that day, sitting about as close as you and me are now, and we couldn't hear ourselves talking to each other because it was just so loud that we were like having to yell to each other sitting this close. And so it was unreal. And yeah, I just remember, 7th inning comes around and Otto looks at me and goes, "You realize AC's going to put you in the 9th, right?" And I was like, no, like, you're the veteran, like, you're going to go in and do it. He goes, no. he's like, AC, he's going to you. And so it was kind of fun, just like being out there and like seeing Renfroe catch it and just kind of turn around, Vasquez jumping in my arms, it's still my coolest experience yet.
You still remember the walk-in from the bullpen? Like, is it almost a blackout thing when you're that young, and or is it? Do you remember the steps?
I don't remember coming in. I remember everything else. Like it was just like it was one of those where it was just like I wanted to take it in because I remember after Renfroe caught it, turned Vasquez in my arms, and I'm just like kind of looking around, and Nate's up there like shaking my hat around, Sale's pushing me around, and Sale goes, "Smile, kid, we won. Like actually enjoy something." And so it was one of those where it's like, oh, yeah, you know, like I am supposed to smile about this kind of stuff.
You go back and look at the beginning of that game, Nate steps off the rubber because the place is just bonkers. And, you know, here's a guy, like I haven't covered many guys who have tunnel vision like he does. Like when he's on there, nothing else exists, right?
Yeah.
You're all like that to an extent, but he's Nate Eovaldi,
oh,
right?
Yeah.
And if you look at him, I told him about that offseason, like, no. And then he went back and looked at it and goes, wow, yeah, he didn't even realize. But he sort of takes a step off and takes a breath because it was bonkers.
Yeah, it was unreal. I mean, literally, like each pitch, whether it was ball or strike, all the fans were in on it, and yeah, I couldn't tell you who the umpires were, but I feel like they even felt it too.
That season for you, we talked a lot about it at the time, but going from Rule 5 to pitch in the ninth inning,
yeah,
in the wild card against the Yankees, like. How fast did you just sort of have to learn about yourself and learn about this and learn the business and learn how to be a major leaguer? Like, that's a whole lot in 1 year.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, thank goodness I had the veterans to, like, take care of me and everything because, I mean, it was one of those things that, you know, like, growing up in Georgia, you don't really know much about the Red Sox. You don't know much about the history or anything like that. And so you come here and, you know, you meet fans and they're like, what do you mean you don't understand the history? And it's like, oh, I need to learn really quick. And so like having Nate, having Otto, like Otto went to college here, like he helped me out a lot, like in the bullpen. Barnes was right there with me in the bullpen teaching everything. And then yeah, it was just kind of cool just like trying to learn on the fly. And again, so grateful that I had those veterans there to like kind of lead me, teach me, and guide me through the whole experience.
You've obviously got other veterans out there in the bullpen now, you know, Hendricks and Chapman and Wilson. These guys have been through a lot.
Yeah.
But again, you've been there longer than anybody as far as Fenway. And you've got some young guys out there with you now. Do you feel that sort of other side of it now, that you're the guy with experience who can pass on some lessons to these young guys? Are you that guy yet?
It's one of those things where, like, I mean, you look at Slayton and, like, he's considered young, but he's so well polished and so well put together that you're just like, honestly, I feel like if I try and do anything, I'm just going to mess him up. So I'm just going to kind of let him be him because he's so good at being him. And it's cool to see, and like the guys we have down there are extremely good about, you know, being who they are. And so I think it's one of those things where, you know, like just kind of letting them be them, and, you know, again, letting Liam and Chappie and Wilson, you know, kind of be the veterans down there.
I was looking back at it. On this date in 2021, you threw 2 1/3 scoreless against the Mariners here at Fenway. And that was a time where, you know, were you going to start? Were you going to relieve? You know, you were kind of both at that point, right? And you've been a little of both now, more of a defined role. How different are you today than the guy you were doing that to Seattle 5 years ago? How different a pitcher? How different a person? You've been through a lot personally, right?
Yeah.
You know, you've been through tragedy. Mm-hmm. You've been through the birth of a child. Like, life has, a lot's happened to you in 5 years. Is kind of, I guess, what I'm getting at. How different are you?
Well, hopefully I'm not too different because, you know, I'd like to stay the same, but at the same time I'd like to grow as well. So hopefully I'm a better person. Hopefully I'm a better teammate. Hopefully I'm a better friend, a better father, a better husband. You know, and at the same time, like, hopefully I've learned a little bit about pitching as well. But I think those other things are what's more important to me. You know, like going through the tragedy, you learn how to be a better family member, a better husband. And then, like the birth of a son, you're learning how to be a father and everything. And so it's one of those things where that's the stuff that I really try and focus on, and, you know, try and be the best teammate, friend, husband, father that I can be. And, you know, if the people that know me say that, like, I'm excelling in those things, then, you know, that's the best thing that can be told to me.
You've also had a glimpse of how this can be taken away.
Yeah.
Right? The injuries. I mean, there are times, I'm sure, where you weren't sure where this was all going. How much more appreciative, not that you ever took it for granted, but when you come out on the mound like last night, how much more are you able to appreciate this life you lead, the opportunities you get, and the ability to go out and do it?
Yeah, I started doing it in spring training this year where, like when I go out and play catch before the games and everything, I just kind of take a circle around and look at the stadium and everything and just say, like, thank you, God, for, giving me the ability to be here today. I don't want to take a single day for granted because, like you said, like last year, like, another elbow surgery, I was scared again. Like, it was one of those things where, you never know how you're going to bounce back from that. So I was scared, and it's one of those things where now I look around each and every day, and I'm just thankful that I'm here.
You've got the most innings of anyone in the bullpen right now. Not most appearances, but the most innings. It's not exactly the same every time, but we pretty much know, by and large, you're going to come in, throw 2 innings, in a couple days off, you're going to do it again. You like the role? You like sort of, it's a little different. You know what I mean? Normally a bullpen guy kind of doesn't know. I feel you must have a pretty good idea. Tonight I'm ready to go, and if things work out, I'm going in for 2 innings. How much do you like that sort of definition, the defined part of that?
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, like you said, it could be shorter, could be longer. I know I haven't gone longer yet this year, but it's one of those things where I like kind of that Swiss Army knife roll. I could come in up 5, down 5, tied, up 1, down 1, like whatever the situation of the game is. I really like try and take that role and like whatever AC's kind of needing. But it's unique to kind of have a guy that can go multi innings, whether leverage spot or not, and so I enjoy it, and it's something that I kind of like take pride in and like enjoy having.
Bullpens, I feel, kind of take on a life of their own. They become an organic, this character to it. They're different every year.
Yeah.
And you've got some characters. You throw Liam Hendriks out in the middle of this. That's I feel bad for any kids who are too close by who can hear him. But Aroldis Chapman, a guy who's done so much in this game. You got some young guys. You mentioned Slayton. Some guys who've been with his team. Just give us a little feel for what it's like out there, because you guys spend a lot of time out there together.
Yeah.
What's this bullpen like? How do you guys spend the time? What's the vibe in that bullpen?
Yeah, I think you said it best. We're kind of our own little family down there. We joke that like the hitters forget that we exist because they do all the dugout celebrations and everything like that, and we're like, guys, we're out here too. We miss you. But
is there anybody who looks out at you guys? Is there any one guy? Like, sometimes I feel there's a couple guys who will look out there.
Yeah, Duran's done it a couple times. AB's
just a couple
done
times, not enough. Here's your chance. They might see this in the clubhouse. You can tell them.
Yeah, we want to be included.
Don't forget them.
Yeah, but no, it's funny. We always joke with them in the clubhouse, like, hey, like we're down there trying to celebrate with y'all as well. That's kind of us out there. Weisert's kind of the jokester of the group. Him and Bernie are the good storytellers, so they keep us entertained during the times where like there might be a pitch and change or anything like that. Those two are the really good storytellers. Obviously, Liam will talk to anybody. Chappie,
he doesn't stop talking to anybody.
Yeah, that's fair. And then Chappie and Wilson are the cool, calm, collected, like steady Eddies. They're just gonna kind of be the same person no matter what. And I just kind of sit down there and try and take it all in. I'm pretty quiet, so I just kind of look around and enjoy everything going on.
I know you're a guy who learns from other. Everybody does in this game, right? Everybody does in life, hopefully. But when you see a guy like Chapman doing what he does at his age, the work he's put into himself to be able to do this, like, is that just beyond what like a mere mortal can describe to be? What's it like seeing him do that at that age?
Honestly, like anytime you see him, whether he's in the gym, on the mound, anything like that, you just kind of have to stop and watch, just because it's like we were there in Baltimore, or it wasn't Texas. They got a good weight room. I think it might have been Baltimore, where we went in there and we were like, I don't think there's enough weight in here for Chappie, because like they only had like 245 plates, and we were like, yeah, he needs at least like 5. And it was just funny because we were just like, I don't know if he's got enough weight to lift in this gym, just because he's so daggum strong. And it's not like he does it once a week. It's 7 days a week that he's just lifting the house. And you just see him and you're just like, I'm going to just kind of stop and watch this, because it's so impressive just to watch him lift, much less like to see him go and throw a ball. So it's something special.
First day he walked in spring training, like I'd seen him pitch, right? I've been in ballparks watching him pitch. He walked by without a shirt on. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I've been watching this game for a long time, and there haven't been many guys built like him playing this game.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I'm glad that he's on our team if we get into Midget's Clearing Brawl. Because it was me and Ottavino were talking about that in 21, actually, when we were playing the Yankees. We were like, man, they got Judge, they got Stanton, they got Chapman, they got Canely. We were like, these jokers might take us. That was one of those where it's like, if we got in a brawl, we weren't very big in 21. We had Workman, we had Otto,
right.
But we weren't that big. And so now I sit down there and I'm like, all right, we got Slayton, we got Chappie, we got some stout guys. We got Casas, like we got some guys that can handle themselves. So it makes me feel better because I'll just be standing behind Chappie like, yeah, you got him. Hold me back.
I'm here if you need me. Hold me back.
Yeah.
In 2007, Terry Francona said, we got a bunch of guys who can't get on the big roller coaster at Disney. Like, they had a bunch of short guys, 5'9", 5'10", Pedroia, they can all play. But he was like, yeah, our guys, they're not that tall. Have you ever been, like, how many times have you had to come running out of the bullpen? Like, I know 9 out of 10 times, but like for a brawl, for a benches clearing, like, there haven't been many times, right?
I don't know if I've ever been in the bullpen when it's happened because, to my recollection, we didn't have any in 21 or 22. And
20, well, you weren't in 20, but you would have been, you would have been suspended because you couldn't interact. So
oh wow, I didn't even know that. And then I think it was either 23 is when Pavetta and Manoah got in it in Toronto.
Right.
But I was in the dugout for that.
And you were hurt last year with the Giants one.
Yeah.
But you weren't there.
I wasn't there for the Giants, and then I was here when Quentin Berry and Seamart got into it.
Right.
So I was in the dugout. So I don't think I've ever been in the bullpen.
I just always thought that was such a strange, you know what I mean? Like, it always starts out here.
Yeah.
And then both bullpens got to sprint in.
Yeah.
And 95% of the time, it's over before you get to the infield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guess you got to be in here in case it's not over.
Yeah.
But I've always thought, you won't want to hear it. I always thought the bullpen should just square off out in center field. Have your own thing.
Just have your own little.
Yeah, just your own total separate.
Oh, yeah. That would be.
I don't know. But nobody's mad. Nobody out there is mad. You weren't involved in it.
That's
so
true.
That probably would be it'd be like WWE. It'd be all staged.
I feel like everyone stopped, look out there, and be like, why are they fighting?
Yeah, this thing's over in a minute, and you guys are wailing on each other. That wouldn't be good. Last night, I was worried about this interview because you instinctively reached out to a ball coming back your way. Did you pull back, or did it just get by you before you got your hand out there?
It could be a little bit of both. Everyone jokes that, I'm the least athletic guy on the team, so, it could be one of those things where, I either did pull back or it was by me by the time I put my hand out that, I don't know. It didn't hit me, so we're good.
We mentioned at the beginning of this, you're the dean, the longest tenured bullpen member. The only pitcher here longer is one of your best friends, Tanner Houck, who technically made his major league debut in that lockdown 2020 season. Watching what he's been able to do to become the starter he's become, and there's a couple bumps in the road, obviously, this year, but the All-Star appearance last year, watch him go. What's it been like to see him put it together? Because there were a lot of people who doubted it, right? There were people who were questioning it early on. He, steadfast in his belief that I can be a starting pitcher and do this, and boy, did he do it last year.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think, like you said, I've been with him through the ups and downs. Like, we live together every spring, and so we've had a lot more conversations and a lot of times just kind of late nights talking about it and everything like that. So it's one of those. It's cool to see, the journey and everything. A lot of people only get to see like the destination, like, oh, like he's an all-star and everything like that. And it's been cool to see, like, 21 where it was like, hey, they were sending him back and forth, all year, and like then 22, it's like, all right, like we had a couple of injuries, but then like start trending up. 23 trending up, and then 24 all-star. So it's been cool to watch him grow, and then like see like the work that, because a lot of people just see him and see like just this like super calm, natural guy. Well, I'll be the first one to tell you he is extremely energetic, and he's the morning person in the house that like annoys me before I've had my coffee. So everyone thinks that like he's this cool, nothing gets to him. It's like, no, he's a jokester, he's a prankster, he's happy-go-lucky, and it's always cool, and like so it's really neat to see, and then like couldn't be prouder of the journey he's had and the success he's had. The
friendship you guys have, and you've both accomplished so much, but like when he goes through a little rough patch like he did at the beginning of the year, do you actively like suggest things, or are you just there as a sounding board? Like, you guys are friends, but you're also both major league pitchers. How do you help each other when you go through things? Yeah,
with Tanner, I'm more of just like a sounding board for him, like letting him do it, because like that's his personality. He's better when he comes to you and to talk about it. That's kind of how me and him are. Whereas like I'm the guy that'll go straight to him and be like, yo, what am I doing wrong, kind of thing, and then me and him will talk about that. But yeah, that's kind of how we do it. But I mean, like I said, like we've been through so much together. Like when my brother passed, he was the one that he sat by me by the bus in Kansas City after I'd figured out, and he missed the bus, hung out with me, and then like that whole night he was the one by me in the hotel room. And so like we've gone through so much like off the field as well, and it's pretty neat. And again, like with my late brother having been adopted, his siblings that are adopted, like we've had so much in common, like we've grown when it comes to that. And so it's a friendship that started because of baseball that will has grown into way more than just baseball friends. And you've grown into more than a ball player here in Boston. Your connection with the Jimmy Fund, you continue to. You're at 10 a.m. this morning taking pictures with patients. A lot of guys get involved, and I think everybody here gets involved in things, but you've taken this sort of to another level. Why has it resonated with you? What about these patients in this place has made it such an important part of your life? It started just because, like, I wanted to do something in the community, and Nate was just like, hey, follow me. It's turned into more than that, a lot because of Miss Lisa. I mean, she's literally an angel walking on earth. And then also my wife, she's a geneticist that works with kids with rare diseases. And so it's been neat to see her get involved as well and get interested in like trying to help like figure out stuff that's way more than what I could do. And so I think it's been a mixture of that, like when we were in college and she would work with the kids with rare diseases, and now she's working with the SET BP1 Society and everything. And so, kind of watching her interact with everything, like I was like, hey, I can maybe use my platform to help that and kind of grow that and everything. And so it's been one of those things where I've really just felt called to that. Yeah, it's meant so much to a lot of people. Thank you for that. It's been amazing. All right, let's talk about this team as we wrap it up. I think we've seen what this team can be, and I think fans are starting to get excited about what this team can be. Almost like you kind of get through the first few weeks sometimes, right? And that feels like what it is, kind of feeling some things out and playing in 10-degree weather and doing all those things. I know the other team has to play in it too, but you guys played in it every night. Yeah. But what can this team do? Like why? I think you guys believe there's something special happening here already. Maybe sort of let us in on that. What should fans know about this team and maybe what you can accomplish this year? I think the biggest thing is we all have belief, but at the same time we're all just like focused on our work daily. And I think that's the thing. I think that's I think that's the thing that's different this year than years past, where it's like, like when we've started winning, like we've started thinking beyond where we are. And I think this year it's more just like, all right, like we don't want to think too far down the road. Like today's April 23rd. We're going to focus on our work for April 23rd. If we win, great. If we lose, let's work harder to get better tomorrow. And I think that's the mindset. Is it's like we know that we've got the capabilities. We know we've got the team for it. But I think it's just believe in our work daily, and then the work will take care of itself. And I think that's just kind of where we're at. You've been through the last few years. I said at spring training that to me the vibe was like you walk in a clubhouse and at the beginning of spring training, every major league team thinks they can make the playoffs. Like you wouldn't be there if you didn't, right? But the reality is some teams think, like, if everything goes right, we can make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I feel this team was the last few springs. I felt like walking in that door, the belief was we're a playoff team. Mm-hmm. And if things go right, it could be special. Yeah. Right? That is a different little bit of a vibe. Like, you guys kind of broke this whole thing at the very beginning with a confidence that I don't think we've seen in a couple of years. Yeah, and again, I think that's the confidence that we just have in each other. It's one of those things where it's just like, I mean, you see Casey right now just taking ground balls like this early, and it's one of those things where it's like, I trust that he's out here doing his work. He's going to do his thing. He knows I'm going to go in and do my stuff, and it's one of those things where, like, we believe in each other, and because of our belief in each other, it just shows the confidence that we have, like, daily, and I think that's what's the infectious part of our clubhouse right now. All right, we'll wrap up by running it back to the beginning of the conversation. 5 years ago, you got here knowing nothing about Boston.
probably trying to figure out how to drive around this
Yeah.
city, let alone, biking over, which I still think you shouldn't do. Be careful out there, all right? We need you healthy. But are you surprised? I mean, if you go back and tell yourself 5 years ago that this was going to be home, would you have ever thought like you would blend into this city the way you have?
Never. Being a redneck from Georgia, no, never. Because like growing up, I just thought the entire Northeast was one giant city. And so, like, now having been here and fallen in love with New England, like, I mean, me and my wife talk about it all the time. Like, we go up to New Hampshire, we go up to Vermont, we go out to the Cape, we go, I love going to Concord, seeing the horse farms. Like, we go around here and we're just like, man, it is so gorgeous. I mean, yeah, I'm a leaf peeper that goes up to Vermont. Sorry, all you Vermont people. Yeah, I'm one of the
guy
tourists.
clogging the roads?
Yeah, that's me. But it's one of those things where it's like I've fallen in love with the beauty of just the nature here, and it's cool to know that there's fellow rednecks in New England as well.
Yeah, I'm from Maine. We're not that far off, right? It's all good. Great to catch up.
Appreciate
Continued
it.
success. Keep it going.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Garrett Whitlock with us there on 310 to left. Always great to catch up with Garrett Whitlock. He has done such an amazing job as the honorary captain of the Team Jimmy Fun efforts, and a huge part of everything we're doing with the Jimmy Fun leading up to the Jimmy Fun Radio Telethon this August. He's always available for groups who come here from the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute or the Jimmy Fun. Was with patients this morning at 10 a.m. out here on a game day, catching up with the patients who came. So we thank Garrett for taking a little extra time and catching up with us here on the podcast. One of our favorite interviews, though, came 2 nights ago. Jahmai Webster caught up with Kristian Campbell, who's having such an incredible start to his Major League career. Right now, the Vegas odds leader to win the American League Rookie of the Year award. But it wasn't a normal baseball interview. In fact, the interview was about anything but baseball. Here's Jahmai Webster with Kristian Campbell on 310 to left.
All right, here with our man Kristian Campbell, and we got a new segment called Anything But Baseball. You obviously know him as a 4th-round pick, a Red Sox rookie, and a guy who secured his future with the organization for the next several years. Kristian, thanks so much for the time. We certainly appreciate it, man. Going to hit you with the hard-hitting stuff off the top. What is something small that makes your day better?
I feel like a good morning touch from my girlfriend.
Nice and easy. What kind of music do you listen to when you need a boost in energy?
Strictly rap. Listen to Future, Lil Baby, just popular guys.
What's your walk-up song right now?
Walk-up song is Uncle M by Young Thug.
Nice. All right. I like that, man. Great choice by you. If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Fettuccine Alfredo.
You'd be gaining some weight if you did that.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely gain some weight. I need it right now because I lose weight.
What's your comfort go-to movie that you throw on and it makes everything better?
It's funny. I don't really watch TV or movies like that, but I like music, so I listen to music, different types of music. I listen to rap to kind of get ready for the game, but outside of the game, I listen to a little bit of everything. Try to be diverse as possible.
If you can do any profession in the world, what would it be post-playing career?
I feel like I would stay in baseball, either talking about baseball on TV, kind of like something like MLB Network or something like that. Still thinking about it, but definitely stay in the baseball field.
Maybe NESN. You could have a future, New England Sports Network.
Exactly. Find something like that. Talk about baseball. Talk about the game I love.
That'd be amazing. We'd love to have you, man, in 15 years, let's say. How about that? That sound like a good number?
Sounds about right. 15, 20. Yeah. Sounds about right.
All right, perfect. Are you more of a beach, city, or mountain type of guy?
I would say beach. I like the beach. Yeah. Quiet. You can go out there, walk around, enjoy your time. Not too many people around you either,
You know how to swim?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I was getting ready to say, because a lot of people, they don't think that we know how to swim.
No, I know how to swim. I know how to swim. I know how to swim for sure. I've been swimming since I was younger, so yeah, I know how to swim.
Okay, I appreciate you dispelling the stereotype, because I know how to swim as well. So, if it was enough to save my life, I could certainly do it. Maybe here to there, 50 yards.
Yeah. Don't put me in the ocean, though. Like in the middle of the ocean, no. Like, you can't swim out of that, you know. I don't do oceans.
Okay, we'll keep you in regular water. Hopefully you never have to be rescued in the ocean.
I don't do oceans, yeah.
All right, what's something interesting that people would be surprised to know about you?
I mean, my hair is naturally red. If you didn't know, if you thought it was dye, it's naturally this
I'm
color.
glad you set the record straight because I thought it was dyed.
No, no, it's not dye. My mom has red hair, and my brother and sister have red hair too. My dad has black hair, so my mom passed her genes to all of us, and we all have red hair. So it's natural. I mean, that's pretty interesting.
That is actually, and I'm not sure, you know, I failed science class, so I'm not sure if that's a recessive trait or what. It gets passed on because it got to all you guys. What was it like growing up a redhead?
Definitely different for sure. Just a lot of people looking at you everywhere you go, asking if it was natural or not. I mean, when I'm by myself, more people ask if it's natural. But when I'm with my family, they figure it's natural because we all have it. But it's cool. It's definitely different. You know, we got the freckles and everything that come with it. So it's interesting. Growing up with it has always been different. It hasn't been difficult or anything. Just unique. It's just something different. So whenever people see it, I'm a lot of the time the first black ginger that a lot of people seen. So when you get used to it, you get used to it. But yeah,
it's probably pretty hard for you to stay, you know, incognito, man. It's hard for you to get a disguise with that natural red hair.
Yeah. I can't really hide anywhere. Yeah, I'm pretty noticeable, and I've been pretty used to that. I mean, you can see me, so.
I guess you can wear a hat. I mean, but then you got the facial hair.
That doesn't help. Yeah, that doesn't really help at all. But yeah, you can just see the facial hair, see the freckles, height. I mean, all of it. Yeah, just kind of stand out. So.
Man. That's tough. Give me one item on your bucket list that you still like to accomplish.
Recently on my bucket list, I feel like I want to go out the country. We just went to Mexico though. That was for baseball, but I feel like I want to go out the country again, just like on a vacation with my family, and just enjoy the time with them, non-baseball related. And I don't know where exactly. Maybe Costa Rica or something like that. I really have no idea. I have to look into it. But just do something like that. That'd be cool.
I think you got a little more money in your bank account now can make that happen, I'm sure. Lastly, I'll hit you with this. Give me one experience that shaped you in your life, made you who you are.
I feel like going to college. Going to college shaped me a lot. You know, really wanted to play professional baseball ever since I was in middle school. And in high school, I didn't know if I was good enough to make it out of high school. And I ended up having to go to college. And that was a really good opportunity for me to grow up and mature and turn into the person I am today. I think without college, I would have been a different person. College taught me a lot, helped me mature, helped me become the person I am today. I mean, and I got to meet a lot of new people. Kind of those growing pains that young guys go through sometimes. You know, I got to do them in college, so didn't have a lot in pro ball, but you know, there's still to come. But I think college is a big part of my maturing for sure. I'm happy I went.
Well, Kristian, thanks so much for the insight, man. We learned a lot about you today. I certainly appreciate you taking the time. Best of luck to you today. Go crush it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fun stuff as Jahmai caught up with Kristian. Fettuccine Alfredo. Not sure I could eat that every night for the rest of my life, but whatever it takes. And unlike Kristian Campbell, I'm not a guy who needs to add weight, so that could have something to do with it as well. Alex Spear's been on vacation this week, so we're flying solo. Spear will be back with us next week as we roll on. Red Sox heading off on the road, as we said, going to Cleveland and then Toronto, an off day, and then, of course, coming back a week from Friday to open up a homestand, coming home for the first time in May. So a lot to talk about in the days ahead. But for now, we're wrapping up this edition of 310 to Left. It's presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 48 years, and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. For everyone here at NESN, I'm Tom Caron. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you again next time.